So good afternoon, everybody. My name is Maria Margulies. I'm the Executive Director and Gordon K. Moe Professor and Chair of the Biomedical Research and Translational Medicine Department here at Masonic Medical Research Institute. On behalf of the Lupus and Allied Diseases Association and the Masonic Medical Research Institute, we are proud to come together today to observe May as a Lupus Awareness Month. I'd like to specifically welcome some of our officials, Senator Joseph Griffo, Assemblywoman Marianne Boutenschan and Dana O'Neill, Representative Brian Miller, Mayor Robert Palmieri that just came in, thank you for being here, and members of LADA's Board of Directors and Medical Advisory Board, members of MMRI's faculty, staff, and Board of Directors, and members of our Community Advisory Committee. Welcome to you all. Thank you for being here. Thank you all for taking the time to come with us today to commemorate a United States Senate proclamation sponsored by Senator Schumer and the New York State Senate and Assembly, which resolves that the month of May is Lupus Awareness Month. Lupus affects estimated 105,400 people in New York alone, 1.5 million Americans, and 5 million people worldwide. It's often causing very debilitating symptoms. It's a chronic inflammatory autoimmune disease that can affect virtually any organ in our bodies. This includes the skin, the joints, the kidney, and the brain. Moreover, lupus is more prevalent among our underrepresented minorities, which include African Americans, Hispanics, Native Americans, and Asians. Many of you here also know that this disease is very personal to me. My mother was diagnosed with lupus in 1986 after suffering undiagnosed for many years before that. She sadly passed away of this disease in 2009, and she suffered for over 26 years. At that time, very little was known about how or why people develop this disease, let alone how to treat it or live with it. Surely, there were no advocacy groups, and oftentimes people lived in silence, and they were embarrassed to have this particular disorder. Now, I am so proud to see that this patient and its advocacies and the advocacy groups have risen. They have brought forward in this country to join with state and federal lawmakers each May to educate people about lupus and emphasize the need for increased research to help develop more effective therapies. We have come so far since 1986, and today I'm proud to stand with them to support the progress, increase awareness, and provide the research efforts that I hope will one day lead to a cure. So to present our state resolution, I welcome New York State Senator Joseph Griffo. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. And I don't know, did you mention Mayor Palmieri's here?
Yeah, I did.
More importantly, Buck Buckley's here. Right, Mayor? You agree with that, right?
Not really.
No. He makes you look good.
That's hard to do.
So Maria also made a major announcement today. Did you hear that, Mayor? Because you know we're all dealing with the redistricting and we're not all sure where we're going to be. But she introduced Representative Brian Miller, so I guess he's announcing for Congress or something, right? We didn't hear that. So unless you are, Mayor, are you doing that too?
No, thank you.
All right, good. So it's a pleasure to join with my colleagues in government here, Assemblywoman Boutenschan, Assemblyman Miller, Mayor Palmieri, because I think it's important that each and every one of us continue to work with all of you and to do our best to continue to advocate, support, and educate. And this has been 14 years now. Kathleen and Dave and her group that has come to Albany. It's unfortunate that we have to continue to do it every year, but it's important that we continue to do it every year. So as you heard Maria so eloquently state, the statistics and the condition. I also lost an aunt to lupus. It's a difficult thing in a family as well as for the individual. So I applaud each and every one of you on the board and all of you who have come here today for your continued support. And I know Kathleen is going to do something very important today because here at MMRI, they do a lot of great research. And hopefully this is something that they will also continue to focus on, and that ultimately we strive for the cure. And until such time that the cure is developed and arrived at, that we continue to raise money, that we continue to educate, that we continue to create the public awareness. And that's what we started to do with Kathleen and the Lupus Board and the allied organizations from lupus and other diseases that have come together to ensure that we continue to keep this in the forefront so people understand it and people appreciate the hardship that this causes, not only to the individual but to the family. So that's my hope, that our efforts will continue to ensure that we keep a focus on this, that we elicit the support and public awareness necessary to raise the money to find a cure. So thank you all very much. It's always a pleasure for me to work with you. I thank you for bringing this to me. And you didn't even know at the time, right, about my aunt or anything when you came. And we have built a great coalition in the Senate, bipartisan coalition, to support your efforts. And hopefully next year we'll have you back in Albany, but hopefully next year we're going to be closer to the cure. Thank you, and God bless you.
All right, well, thank you. At this time, I'd like to introduce Kathleen Arnson, who is the President and CEO of Lupus and Allied Diseases Association, Inc.
Maybe you can step over here so I can read my remarks. You need to hold that. Look at that. So this isn't totally a surprise, but good afternoon and happy Lupus Awareness Month. Thank you all for coming out here in this wonderful central New York weather. For anyone struggling to live with lupus or love someone with lupus, what motivates us to face another day is our hope that research advancements lie just around the corner that will improve our lives. Because of this, we believe wholeheartedly in research here at the Lupus and Allied Diseases Association. So on behalf of our organization, I am absolutely thrilled to present Dr. Conaritas and the Masonic Medical Research Institute with the largest single donation we've ever given for research, $150,000. This money is to be assigned to your 3 new groundbreaking lupus research projects. We are honored to share with you that since we previously supported lupus research at the Institute from 1990 to 1999 and last year in 2021, this brings our total research support to $115,000 so far. We are hopeful that this will help to be a catalyst for a new era in lupus research and that it begins here in the Mohawk Valley. Thank you for your brilliance and vision.
So we are very excited at this wonderful opportunity for collaboration with LADA. The support of our science makes it possible for us to focus our efforts in making strides towards medical discoveries that can hopefully improve the lives of those living with lupus and other autoimmune diseases. As Kathleen mentioned, LADA has been instrumental in our efforts in many ways. Their advocacy extends for many years, and I'm so delighted that the opportunity for them to be back here at MMRI has now come to reality. We are elated to be part of this organization and to be working together in collaboration. And we are now very excited to say that from their first funding of our work, since I've been here in 2018, with $25,000, which supported a Department of Defense grant, we now have 3 additional projects that are supported by LADA. And at this time, I'd like to welcome 2 people who have received also part of this grant support, which is Samantha, who's working in my lab, Lasamiere from Scotland, please come forward, and Dr. Jason McCarthy, who is also a faculty member here at MMRI.
Thank you everyone for coming. I would like to take this moment to thank LADA wholeheartedly. This is actually my first independent award as a newly sort of minted postdoc, and it marks the transition of my career into independence where I can begin working in autoimmunity. I came here from Scotland purely for the lupus research. My hope is that with this money and with the work we're going to do here today, my 13-year-old niece and goddaughter who has just been diagnosed with lupus will not go through the same pain and heartache her mother, her grandmother, and 8 of her aunts have been through. Thank you so much for your support, and it means the world.
So I feel privileged to be up here as part of this research project. So I am a drug delivery scientist. I actually don't have a background in lupus, but I have a background in trying to treat diseases that can't be treated with new technologies that haven't even been developed yet. And so the money that is being put forth for this project will actually be used to treat lupus nephritis, which is one of the common conditions that are associated with lupus. And there's no known treatments for it. And so we're using novel technologies that we actually are creating upstairs here to try to target the cells that cause nephritis and stop it from occurring. So if it wasn't for this initial seed funding for this project, it would have been very hard to get it up off the ground. So I'm very, very appreciative of this opportunity to actually push forward these new therapeutics in hopes of finding cures for this disease.
So with the seed money, the instrumental impact that the LADA Foundation really has on the work that we do will be groundbreaking. This will provide us the opportunity to do the science that's necessary to then go after the larger grants to be able to continue the research and hopefully move things into clinical trials. As you know, my work has been focused on studying one particular enzyme called SHP2 and trying to determine how that might relieve pathology and progression of SLE. And with Samantha's help in my lab and Jason's to help target things into the right tissues, I think we're on a really great way to try to facilitate getting to therapeutics in the near future. So thank you for a lot of support. We couldn't do it without you. So with that, I'd like to now introduce our sort of a guest of honor this evening, or this afternoon, Ms. Kathleen Arnson. Kathleen, again, is the president and CEO of the Lupus and Allied Diseases Association and has been a strong leader and patient advocate for the lupus, rheumatology, and autoimmune communities for over 35 years. She's a member of the Autoantibody Standardization Committee in Rheumatic and Related Diseases, Association for Rheumatology Professionals, New York State Rheumatology Society, and numerous steering committees and coalitions. But most importantly, she has been a robust face behind the efforts to autoimmune disease awareness and patient advocacy. She wants to be at the table to raise voices in the healthcare, regulatory, and public policy arenas and across the research continuum, drawing on her own experiences in living with lupus and multiple autoimmune conditions since childhood. She has been unwavering in her support and innovative with regards to pushing research initiatives for disease, especially with patient-centered healthcare and research advocacy programs. She empowers people and she empowers the world with her ability to try to assess how this might help impact everybody's quality of life with lupus. She's a strong self-advocate, stressing the importance by sharing her own journey and empowering and becoming part of the healthcare team, where she is now a major decision maker in policy. I also want to point out that it was Kathleen and LADA's efforts that really facilitated the generation of the Department of Defense grant that we were so fortunate here at MMRI to receive last year. That Lupus Impact Award by DoD has made tremendous strides in helping facilitate ways to push research to the next level and create opportunities for advancement of therapeutics. So with that, I'd like to introduce Kathleen.
Thank you. I do want to say that although I might be the spokesperson today, this really is about our entire organization, and it's about the millions of people who have lupus across the world. So As president of and CEO of Lupus and Allied Diseases Association, or LADA, you've heard it for short, which is less of a mouthful, I'm honored to speak to you today about lupus and share with you how we ended up here today. Our lupus advocacy community began over 50 years ago at kitchen tables and in church basements, where the newly diagnosed and their families came together to find answers and provide comfort and support for each other at a time when little information existed for this confounding disease. These small groups grew into grassroots efforts and virtual support systems that now Zoom, post, tweet, chat, snap, share, and like with the touch of a finger. For too many decades, our community has witnessed the devastation of this relentless disease, shed countless tears, and spent hours praying and grieving in hospitals, places of worship, and burial grounds. Advancing lupus and autoimmune drug development and research has become a priority for individuals with lupus and their loved ones who have fought to not only manage their own disease, but to make their voices heard along the way. One of these families was the Curry family from here in East Utica, not too far from this institute. Their daughter, Marguerite, had passed away from complications of systemic lupus erythematosus in 1968. The Margaret Curry Systemic Lupus Erythematosus chapter was then founded here in Utica, New York, by Peter and Dorothy Curry in memory of their daughter. The chapter received its charter from the City of Hope in Los Angeles originally and began with 150 charter members. The organization, as you can see, has grown exponentially over the years, expanded its reach, and is currently one of 3 national lupus organizations in this country. We are an all-volunteer national patient organization, and we are patient-led. That means the majority of our board of directors are people who live with the disease and their care partners. We are dedicated to enhancing quality of life by enlightening and empowering individuals impacted by lupus and conditions of unmet need to become more proactive in their medical care. As a passion-driven charity led by people with lupus and their loved ones, we work to ensure, as Maria pointed out, that the patient stakeholder is included as an equal participant in the healthcare, regulatory, and public policy arenas and across the research continuum. Now, let me share a few facts about lupus, other than the ones Maria touched on. It is an extremely complex chronic inflammatory autoimmune disease in which a triggering agent causes the immune system to dysregulate and attack the patient's own tissue. It can affect virtually any organ system in the body, including the skin, joints, kidney, brain, heart, lungs, blood, and blood vessels. It is the leading cause of kidney disease, stroke, and premature cardiovascular disease in young women, and as you heard, there is no known cause or cure. It disproportionately impacts communities of color. These individuals tend to develop lupus at a younger age, experience more serious complications, and have higher mortality rates, up to 3 times the incidence and mortality of Caucasians. 90% of those affected are women, but men and children can also be diagnosed with lupus. 80% of the newly diagnosed are women in their childbearing or prime of life, age 15 to 44. Fatigue is the most prevalent and incapacitating symptom, and it results in decreased physical and mental function. And for many of us, it is the most disabling symptom. I can tell you from firsthand experience that lupus is extremely complex, difficult to diagnose, potentially fatal, presently incurable, totally capricious, painfully limiting, life-altering, dream-stealing, career-ending, and financially, emotionally, and physically devastating. Living with lupus is like swimming in shark-infested waters. The danger and uncertainty is always present, and one is armed with nothing but a will to survive. We try to stay afloat while anticipating the next attack and remain ever hopeful that a rescue ship will soon appear on the horizon. That rescue ship is research. It is vital to us. Lupus research is underfunded in comparison with diseases of comparable magnitude and severity, and existing treatments are absolutely inadequate. Many are toxic and cause detrimental side effects with long-term use. And after 56 years of waiting, there was finally a drug specifically developed and approved for lupus in 2011. However, only 30% of the people who have lupus respond to this treatment. So there are only 5 drugs currently approved for lupus and 2 drugs recently approved for lupus nephritis. So the majority of our treatments are borrowed from other diseases such as cancer and transplant. And they make us immunocompromised, which you've heard a lot about in the press with COVID-19. And there is no single test to identify whether you have lupus or not, resulting in many individuals suffering more serious complications before the diagnosis is reached. As a matter of fact, there is no specific test to diagnose many autoimmune conditions like lupus, so the diagnosis is based on numerous medical appointments and lab results, process of elimination, extreme patience, and open to clinical interpretation. One can only hope they see a physician who takes them seriously and was paying attention in medical school when lupus and autoimmunity was covered and didn't graduate at the bottom of their class. So as you can see, research matters to us. LADA has been among the patient advocacy organizations pushing for more autoimmune research for decades, and as a patient-led organization who understands all too well the urgent need for safer and more effective targeted treatments for people struggling to live with lupus, we are inspired that there is local lupus research conducted at the MMRI again. I had met Dr. Conaritas at a lupus scientific meeting years ago, never dreaming that she would end up here in our backyard to revitalize the MMRI lupus program and expand the institute. Now, onto the awareness part of this tale. Autoimmune diseases like lupus deal with a major lack of awareness. Could this be because most of us do not look sick? Lupus, like most autoimmune diseases, is invisible. Look at me. Do I look ill? Public and professional knowledge of the symptoms and the effects of lupus and autoimmune diseases are often lacking, resulting in delayed diagnosis, proper medical intervention, and often more severe complications by the time the diagnosis is reached. So as you can see, early diagnosis and treatment are vital components in reducing the physical and economic impact. And because of this, we are committed to increasing community awareness. In 2009, we launched a statewide lupus awareness initiative, as you heard, in New York State with legislators by working very closely with Senator Joseph Griffo and former Assemblywoman Roanne DeCito to sponsor a lupus awareness resolution recognizing May as Lupus Awareness Month. We invited other lupus groups throughout the state to participate and meet in Albany each May to be recognized in the Senate and Assembly chambers. Unfortunately, due to the pandemic, we have been unable to meet in person for the past 3 years, but a resolution has still been adopted. We're absolutely delighted that Senator Griffo and Assemblywoman Bouchon took time out of their very busy days to come here today to recognize Lupus Awareness Month. We do wholeheartedly appreciate it. This initiative gave lupus much more visibility in the state, and from it, we were able to pass legislation for a New York State tax checkoff bill, lupus awareness license plates, if you would like to go purchase one through the DMV, they're available, a DOH lupus advisory panel, and a large lupus program grant. We are cautiously optimistic that our 15th annual event in 2023 will be held in person. And we were thrilled also to hear that Senator Griffo brought his aunt up, because he has always mentioned it on the Senate chamber floor. And it has been a catalyst to get other senators to talk about their family members and loved ones who have lupus. And you would not believe how many of them are impacted. If Roanne was here, I would give her a big hug. I haven't seen her in years. But what you also need to know is that she went to school with Margaret Curry. And she knew when she had passed away, but not what she had passed away from, because they were children. Now you can see how LADA's lupus journey has come full circle, ending up where it began in Utica, New York, in the great Mohawk Valley. Now most of us living with lupus cling to the belief that there will be better treatments and a cure during our lifetime. We need innovative research, such as what the groundbreaking research here is at MMRI, that include cross-sector collaborations, multi-center and public-private partnerships, and robust basic clinical and translational projects that will enable scientists to investigate the disease pathogenesis and physiology, identify biomarkers, design better clinical trial methodologies, prevent complications, and develop precise diagnostic measures and safer, more effective treatments, and ultimately cure this devastating disease. It is imperative that the next generation of people with lupus are given the chance at a better quality of life and the opportunity to pursue their goals and dreams. And we are absolutely looking forward to our Advocacy and Research Collaborative Initiative with the MMRI. And after all, if you think about it, lupus ends with us. Thank you all very much for being here tonight.
Okay, so at this time, I'd like to welcome Maria Margulies to the podium.
Thank you so much. That was so heartfelt. Thank you so much, Kathleen. And I have to sincerely appreciate all the board members that are here from Florida to Rome, from Utica, that provide the support. Your organization is one that has picked a winner for research. And I can say, under the guidance of Maria and her team and all of the scientists that are here, we're clearly looking for that cure. As we hear the stories of individuals that are touched, a dear friend of mine that, as you stated, is strong, perseveres, never wants to talk other than moving forward. And clearly when you talk about the invisible disease, in a sense, it is something that we don't want to talk about it anymore. I know the senator elaborated on those conversations. So I thank you for your perseverance, and it was an honor to co-sponsor this resolution, as well as so many of my colleagues, Assemblymember Miller's here today, and I know that he felt the same way. I wish you all the best, and I know you're in great hands, and I know the work will continue. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Marianne. I'd like to invite Mayor Palmieri, if you'd like to say a few words.
Really didn't want to, but I really wasn't going to.
Thank you. I listened, and let me say when I'm listening at this point, not talking as a mayor, but talking as a father, son, friend. You talked about your mother being undiagnosed, and I think right now I'm going through it, and not knowing with autoimmune disease. We've been going through this for about 8 years within my own family, and you don't realize the impact that it has, and not knowing what it is, and thinking that it may be that, and all the signs are there, but for all the testing and everything that goes on, we still do not have that closure at this point. So when I'm listening to what you're talking about and what hopefully God brings us the cure to it, I'm just blessed that in Utica, New York, my hometown, where the Currys were, that we will come up with the right direction and no one will have to suffer. So I thank you for your cavalier and in your passion for it. And I thank you and the board members, because this is not only a Utica, this is global, and if anyone could do it, MRI could do it. So on behalf of the great city of Utica, we are honored to be a small part of this and a major problem that I think so many other people don't understand where it's at until it really hits home. So thank you.
So at this time, I'd like to welcome not Assemblyman, not Representative. Sorry, Brian.
Thank you so much. No, it's not going to be representative. Who knows? Everybody's hopping into the race now.
I was hoping.
But as I sat back there, in listening to everything, there's a sign right here. It says MMRI, Unlocking the Possibilities. And this is truly what's happening here today. And I just want to thank you for the confidence that Lupus Association has put into the Masonic Research Institute here and helping them with hopefully finding a cure. And again, let's unlock the possibilities and let's make the cure for lupus right here in Utica, New York, where it should be. Thank you.
And last but certainly not least, I'd like to introduce Tony Vicente, our county executive.
Good afternoon and welcome to all the board members and to this great establishment. I can't really add adequately to what my colleagues before me and certainly has been said here today, but I can echo that if there's any place that this is, as Brian Miller said, unlocking possibilities, this is the place to do it. I'm always amazed and continually enthralled at what gets done here each and every day, and the benefit of having, as has been said by the mayor and others, of having this in our community and in this county and city. So as we look at this and the story of that has been told, this is really it's one of those silent diseases that people don't talk about much, but it's out there and it's very prevalent in so many. And as someone who's lost someone and who's dealt with this, there are many people we know that have this that we don't know. And so the benefit of this, of doing the research here, of really putting it where it's best for all of us is really a blessing. And so to all that are involved with it, thank you and God bless you. Thank you.
Okay, yes, we'd like our president, our honorary chair, yes, please, to say a few words from LADA.
I wasn't on the agenda, but I felt I had to say something. So I am a physician from a little town southeast of here, about 40 miles, and a rheumatologist, and you can probably figure out my relationship with Kathleen probably from there. A couple of things come to mind as I was sitting there, and there's first is research. You don't have to be MD Anderson. You don't have to be Dana-Farber. You don't have to be Sloan Kettering. You can be right here and make a huge impact and be the brilliant ones in a great town like Utica. Second thing is that I've known Kathleen for what now, 25 years?
30 years.
30 years, okay. I'm not that old, okay. In any event, this is the pit bull of fundraising, okay? So we host a lupus golf tournament at Turning Stone for many years, and how much we raised? Over $1 million?
Yes. Over
$1 million. And it's fun, and we make nothing on the golf entry and the meals and all that. We make it all by people sponsoring and corporations and firms donating and individuals, and that's what we need you for. Even if you don't play golf, even if you don't like dinner there, sponsor it. It's just going to good causes like this. So I'm usually asked to get some things from Cooperstown, New York Central Mutual, and I'll call up and say, remember, she will not take no for an answer, so just tell me what you're giving us this year, whether it's Leatherstocking Golf Course in New York Central Mutual or whatever. But I've always admired her tenacity, and again, she won't take no for an answer, and that's why funding has been so good, and I can't think of a better cause, better place to do it. In fact, I haven't been here in years, and I drove and I said, where did this city come from since I was here a long time ago? So, and the security guard, so big, couldn't tell me where this auditorium was. I go, I'll find it. It's okay. Anyway, I just wanted to give her a shout out. And the guy sitting behind her who doesn't say much, I mean, they run the whole golf tournament. He's at her side every step of the way. And she's a power at national meetings as well. So that's enough from the rheumatologist. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And to thank you for your efforts and your contributions, I'd like to introduce our president of our board, Dr. Bob Hewson.
Kathleen, if you'd join us. Good afternoon. On behalf of the Masonic Medical Research Institute Board of Directors, the research staff, the administrative staff, and everyone here, we are very, very grateful for everything that LADA and Kathleen Arnsten has done for us. And to show our appreciation, we'd like to give her a leaf from our Tree of Life as you go out. Just beyond the cafeteria, there's a wall with various leaves on it, and they're dedicated to people who have given us support throughout the years. Kathleen has more than sufficiently proven that, and so we're giving her two. One would probably also be nice for LADA as well. In fact, it is for LADA. So it is a great pleasure for me to present this. Our other board member, Frank Williams, is holding the other one. So thank you very much. Thank you, Board of Directors, for continuing to keep us in mind and supporting us. And if it can be done, we'll do it here. Thank you.
So this concludes our evening or afternoon events for the press release. Thank you all again for taking the time to be here with us today, and welcome again to MMRI. If you haven't been here before, please take this time to think about doing a tour. We have some of our development team here. I could do this as well, so I'd be delighted to show you some of our new space. Please keep us in mind for letting people know about the amazing research that happens here. And I thank you all for taking the time this afternoon. Have a great rest of your day and enjoy the rest of your week, everybody. Thank you.